Breaking news. Please stand by for another C2C World News Now current event. Hello, today is Tuesday, and this is the 27th day of September 2016.
Al-Nusra Front is a terrorist group and the U.S. will never provide it with any aid, said the State Department, reacting to revelations in a German newspaper, while admitting that unnamed U.S. allies might be backing the jihadist militants in Syria.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that the US-led coalition is not targeting the al-Nusra terrorist group in Syria, despite all assurances that it actually is.
It's odd, but the US-led coalition targets only ISIL in Syria, but not Jabhat al-Nusra. All this comes despite John Kerry's repeated insistence that this group is as much a terror organization as Islamic State.
And in fact, one al-Nusra commander said in an interview the group actually receives some assistance from the US. You can watch the full interview on the Facebook page of journalist Jürgen Todenhofer.
Yes, the US supports the opposition, but not directly. They support the countries that back us. However, we're still not satisfied with this support. They should support us with advanced weapons. We were winning the fights thanks to Tau missiles. With these, we gained parity with the regime. We received tanks from Libya via Turkey and multiple rocket launching systems too. The regime's only advantage is tactical aircraft, rockets and rocket launchers. We captured some of their rocket launchers and received a lot from abroad. Thanks to the Tau missiles, we were able to keep the situation under control in many areas.
RT correspondent Gane Chichikan tried to get reaction on this from the State Department.
The State Department absolutely denies that the U.S. gave weapons to al-Nusra, but does not rule out the possibility that they may be getting the weapons from the rebels backed by the U.S. and its allies. And it doesn't look like the U.S. is doing much to stop that. Here's what I asked.
Do you rule out the possibility that U.S. allies are giving weapons to al-Nusra?
There are countries, and we've spoken about this before, who will also seek to support and back some of the opposition and may provide them with assistance. You know, I'm not saying the U.S. is going to do this, but that's just looking at the scenario that exists in Syria. If the regime does pursue a military strategy, and if the ISSG falls apart, then that could happen. That's a possible scenario.
Weapons given to opposition ending up in the hands of al-Qaeda in Syria should not be surprising, considering how intertwined some of the groups are. In fact, just when the U.S. and Russia brokered a ceasefire deal earlier in September, the second largest rebel group in Syria, Ahrar al-Sham, openly stated that they were not going to separate from al-Nusra. The U.S. has so far avoided targeting al-Nusra, even though they are al-Qaeda. I asked about it.
Trust me, we're going after Nusra in a very strategic way. We're not just indiscriminately bombing where we believe Nusra is, and also striking civilian targets as well as moderate Syrian opposition. There's a way to do this. There's a way to do this, and we've shown this by taking out senior ISIL or Daesh leadership.
I looked at updates that the coalition puts out about its strikes, and they were all about Daesh, ISIL that is, nothing on al-Nusra. But the State Department says they don't want to strike moderate rebels along with al-Nusra, but acknowledges that the U.S. has been unable to separate them.
It's just very difficult to even get to that point where you've got a 7-day, we couldn't even get there. We couldn't get 7 days of reduced violence. So we couldn't get to the next stage.
But even before the 7-day ceasefire deal, way before actually, the U.S. had been saying for months, for many months, that it was working to separate legitimate opposition from al-Qaeda, especially in and around Aleppo. The State Department now seems to suggest that that whole effort depended on this ceasefire.
This has been a C2C World News Now current event. Stay safe, everyone.